Hi guys, it is April from Getting Coco With It. Today I wanted to talk about some new releases that I think would be very good Halloween reads. So some of them have come out in September. I think that's as far back as we're going, like they're new releases. Others are coming out in October. I have one that comes out November 1st. So I'm sorry, you might have to get your hands on it just after Halloween. So anyway, new releases for Halloween. Let's get into it. Okay, so I have ordered all of these books from least scary to most scary, I would say. So I hope that this will satisfy everyone's appetite for this time of year. Sometimes people are nervous to jump into something horror-y or even thriller-y. Some people get really nervous, so I wanted to have a good range here. Now, the first book that I wanted to talk about is The Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton. This one is coming out on October 9th, so you can get your hands on it October 9th. And this book is a mystery and a little bit of historical fiction as well. So Kate Morton does this thing with all of her books. All of her books have a mystery in it that happened in the past, and someone from the present is going back into the past to find out what happened, essentially. So in this book, we're following a group of artists who descend upon this manor, I think in the 1860s, and they're there to get inspiration for their art. However, stuff goes down that, you know, it's not inspiring the way that they had imagined it would be. Shots ring out in this book. It leaves one woman dead and one woman missing. And I believe that this book is just ever so slightly different from her others because it spans 100 years. And I think there are multiple characters that we're following. Usually with Kate Morton, you know going in, you're going to be following one character from the past and one character from the present, and that present person is going to be diving into the mystery. And in this, I think it's 100 years of people. So I am very eager to pick this one up. Kate Morton is a beautiful writer. You're in good hands when you're reading Kate Morton, and that mystery element makes it a really lovely book for Halloween if you're, you know, just a little bit too afraid to dive into a thriller or dive into a horror book. So, Daughters, The Clockmaker's Daughter. Another book that I think is good for people who are afraid of ghost stories, want a ghost story, but don't want to be horrified beyond belief. This is Daughters of the Lake by Wendy Webb. This one is coming out on November 1st. So it's just right after Halloween, and I apologize for that, but I really wanted to include it. I've read one Wendy Webb before, and it was a ghost story. This is also a bit of a ghost story, but they're not overly scary. That's what I kind of like about this for anyone. If you want that dark, you know, haunting kind of vibe, but you don't want to have to like keep your light on at night, I would definitely go with something by Wendy Webb. So Daughters of the Lake is about a woman who goes to this cottage. She's having a hard time in her life. She decides to go to a cottage to kind of get away. At the cottage, she is on the dock and sees a woman dead with her baby. Her newborn baby is dead as well with her, and they're kind of like floating down the lake together. Very disturbing. What's more disturbing is our main character has seen this woman before. She knows the woman, but she knows the woman from a dream. So I think that's where the haunting element kind of comes in. Again, it gives me Kate Morton vibes in the sense that it's a woman diving into the secrets of the past. So that is another good one if you want something gothic and you want a bit of a ghosty kind of story, but you're afraid of horror stuff. check out Daughters of the Lake. So now we're moving into thrillers and recent releases for thrillers. First up is Cross Her Heart by Sarah Pinborough. This is already out. It came out September 18th. I read Sarah Pinborough's Behind Her Eyes and I hated it. I'm very, very, very cautious about going into this. I liked her writing style. I hated the storyline. I thought it was dumb. So I've heard mixed things about this one too. I have. And it's very unclear about what the story is about in the blurb. This says that it follows 3 women. We follow a single mom, her daughter, and her best friend. They all have big, huge secrets that they can't tell anyone. And they also can't escape these big, huge secrets. But if you are looking for something, a thriller at this time of year, this is probably a good one to go for. Next is something that sounds really fun. It's The Exes Revenge by Joe Jakeman. This is a domestic thriller. It came out September 11th. And I love the plotline for this. Penguin Random House Canada sent this over to me just randomly, and it really does sound like a lot of fun. This follows a couple. The man in this couple, Philip Rochester, is a horrible husband, like really bad. He has ignored her, he's cheated on her, and then he's come home and been like, listen, our marriage is over. You have until the end of the month to get out. All the while, they have a child together. And he's saying, if you don't get out of our house, I'm going to sue for full custody. Now, our main character, Imogen, she's done with this man. She's so done with him. And in a moment of rage, I think she knocks him out or something and puts him in the basement. And he's just there, held hostage. I think that's a really fun premise. And you know that you're going to kind of be rooting for the bad guy who is doing this terrible thing to someone else. But he's such a jerk that you're like, yeah, I'm totally rooting for him. It sounds like a lot of fun. So if you want a domestic thriller, not overly scary, domestic thrillers are never all that scary. The Exes Revenge might just do the trick for you. Next, I've got a true crime for you that also came out in September. So we're slowly moving up the ranks of like creepier and creepier and creepier. If you've ever read Lolita or know the story of Lolita, this is the true crime case that it was based on. We are following in this book the kidnapping of Sally Horner. And apparently Lolita was based on this kidnapping that happened, I believe, in the 40s. It happened in 1948. She was 11 years old. I'm very nervous to read this because of the storyline, just like I haven't read Lolita because of the storyline. But it does sound really interesting, and if you're looking for true crime at this time of year, the Real Lolita might just be it for you. Moving on. This is the only book out of all of them. I don't know where to put this in terms of timing. So, Dead Girls by Abigail Tartlin. In the UK, this came out in July. Here, it's still not out. No one has optioned this. No publishers have taken this up. I don't understand. So, for all of us in the US and Canada, you might have to go on Book Depository to get it. I was kindly sent this book from Pan Macmillan UK, which was so nice of them. Now this is a thriller, but it also has some horror element to it. This is about a young girl. I think she's 11. Yeah, 11 years old. Her name is Tara. Her best friend, Billy, was found murdered. Tara isn't having it. She is not having it. She is out for revenge, and she is taking her friend Billy along for the ride. She's using a Ouija board to get in contact with Billy. I love this story because I was so into Ouija boards when I was like an early teen. really into it with my best friend Sonia. So yeah, so she is using a Ouija board to get in contact with Billy, and she's out for revenge against the people that killed Billy. I'm so excited for this. I really want to read this. It sounds so great. So perfect for Halloween again. Okay, and now we're getting right into horror. This is straight up horror. The scariest of the bunch. I'm keeping the scariest for last. And so we have In the House in the Dark of the Woods by Laird Hunt. Now this was sent to me by Hachette Books. This comes out on October 16th. Perfect for Halloween. And this is a literary horror story. It's set in colonial New England, and we're following a woman. We're not sure whether she's lost in the woods or whether she's run away to the woods. But we follow her, and she meets a woman in the woods, and it kind of ups the ante for this horror setting. We follow her on this very twisted journey. She is met with wolves. There are wolves in this wood. She ends up down a very big well, and then she also ends up on a living ship made of human bones. And it just sounds really, really great. It sounds great. I'm definitely going to be reading this for Halloween, 100%. So there's that. Now for the scariest of the bunch. It's called Dracul. This is written by two authors. One of them you'll probably know or have heard of, J.D. Barker, very well-known horror author. The other one is by Bram Stoker's great nephew. His name is Dacre Stoker, and this has already come out. This came out October 2nd. And this kind of reimagines Bram Stoker writing Dracula. We follow Bram Stoker when he's 21 years old. He's like locked up in, I think, a tower of sorts. And there are people outside that want to come in. He's trying to write down the story of Dracula and write it down quickly before they get in. I think he thinks it's the end of his life. So we follow him then, and then we flash back to his childhood, which is also creepy. So he was a really sickly child. He has an older sister, I think, named, I want to say Matilda. Yeah, it's Matilda. And they're taken care of by a nanny named Ellen Crone. While she's taking care of them, there are these very scary murders going on in the small town where they've grown up. And then Ellen leaves, and I'm not sure if the murders stop or what happens, but they think their lives are just going to go back to normal finally, because Ellen was very strange. And then Matilda goes off to school, and she comes back for a holiday, and she's like, I saw Ellen. And I think Ellen is reintroduced to their lives. This is obviously going to be like a classic kind of vampire story. I'm so excited to read this. It sounds wonderful. So many amazing people have blurbed this. We've got Josh Mallerman, Riley Sager, R.L. Stein. I love R.L. Stein. John Saul, like major authors have blurbed this and loved it. So that is the last one. So those are all of the books, new releases that have come out very recently or are coming out really, really soon for you that I think would be really good for Halloween, no matter where you are on the scare factor. If you like to be really scared, go for something like Dracul. If you want just a little bit of creepiness but nothing too major, maybe go for something more like The Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton. You've got everything here. So let me know in the comments below if you've heard of any of these books, if you have had any of these on your radar, and also if you know of any new releases that are really, really scary that you want to read. Let me know in the comments below. I hope that you have the most wonderful Halloween reading season, and I will talk with you soon. Okay, bye!